Hi there, my name is Ndumixo and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, consider hitting a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any other videos that I might be uploading later on in the future. And today, I'm going to be talking about Reaper. In my personal opinion, I think everybody goes through Reaper in the same pattern or from what I've seen online, because with everybody that I've seen, you try Reaper, open it up, instantly hate it, and then you just stop using it, and then you come back later with some renewed optimism, and then that's when all the magic happens. That's exactly how it went for me, because I think I tried Reaper at about version 4 for the first time. And then I was like, damn, even the keyboard shortcuts, everything is upside down. I was like, I cannot use this. I cannot use this. And then I just went on with my life, continued to Cubase, Pro Tools. And then I just kept seeing videos crop up on the internet. And then I saw someone with a comment. Something cool happened. And then someone came up with a comment and said, anything that you want to do, you can do quicker in Reaper. So that was an interesting statement. So I re-downloaded Reaper, which is pretty easy because it's about like 15 megabytes to download for an entire DAW. That's 15 megabytes. And then I came back to Reaper and I was like, okay then, let's see what this man is yapping on about. And then I stuck it out. I literally stuck it out. I was like, okay, all the shortcuts are upside down, but the one thing about Reaper that they pride themselves on is the customizability. So you can literally change anything about Reaper. I know some people add that changing the theme as a feature. I mean, it's pretty cool. For me personally, I couldn't be bothered about themes. I think that's one rabbit hole you don't want to get into because there's lots of themes for Reaper. There's literally lots. Once you start customizing, it's just like an endless pit. And the one thing I want to do is to make a DAW be quick for me. I just want to get in and get out while the creativity is hot. Once you start like endlessly modifying and changing things, then it just takes away from the music, I personally feel. But themes, if themes are your thing, you've got them here. You can make Reaper look like Reaper, you can make it look like Pro Tools, you can make it look like Ableton, you can make it look like Cubase, Logic, Reason probably, but you can even make it look like a console. You can literally do anything in Reaper. But the one thing that I'm mostly interested in is mostly like your keyboard shortcuts and maybe just shortcuts in general to make your workflow basically yours. And for me, I'm more of like a stickler for organization. I just want things to make sense to me. So the one great thing about Reaper is that you can just basically personalize it to be yours. It's just your DAW, your workflow. You do things in your own way. And I don't know about you, but for me, one of my favorite things when it comes to Reaper is just getting started. Like once you get your own workflow and get all your shortcuts in order, just getting started with a project, that's just exciting for me. You can set up everything so that it's just ready for you. And what I mean by that is, for example, if you get this is a must. Like it's an absolute must that you get the extensions, the Repack and the SWS extensions, and you just did so much. You just get so much there. I've downloaded some icon packs as well so that for my organization, everything is just so easy. When I get started with a project, let's say I've got a couple of files. Let's say I'm going to create this. So it's Control T to start a new track. And this is how I'm going to start basically. Maybe let's say kick. Let me add a new track. Let me say snare. I don't know how other people do it, but this is how I do it. You can also like right click and select a track like that. Maybe let's say maybe FX or something like that, and can hit on auto color, auto render. I can just hit apply here because sometimes I do come here and just check what these things are. I'm not really sure because I've got a whole bunch of things saved, and then I hit apply, and it automatically applies all the colors and icons that I have set. For me, I like that. So if I import like a project from somewhere else and I get all the stems and I just add them all there, then I can just hit that apply, and then everything gets color coded and rendered. I've got all my icons, everything set there. So that's how I like to begin sometimes. But I also got a template. I've got my separate template. I've got the default one, I've got the mastering, no effects, I've got recording template, no effects, it's clean, and then I've got the recording template with effects, so that whenever I start like tracking vocals, recording a song, I've just got all my effects there ready. All I just need to do is record the vocals, and then enable what's the opposite of bypass? Yeah, just enable the vocals and the effects to come through, and then I can just do some minor tweaking, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, you're there. So it's very easy to set up Reaper in to get your own workflow. But I'm not gonna lie, with all the stuff that you get Reaper right out of the box, there's a lot of annoyances. So for me, what I did, the first things that I do is just go to the action list and then type in like the keyboard bindings and then controls, so I can see like what exactly is going on. I've changed basically the keyboard shortcuts to be more like Cubase, because that's pretty much what I'm used to. So I've turned it into basically like a new Cubase, and that's pretty dope. And then here, if you come to the actions list, you've got literally every single action, and if you install the repack and the SWS extensions, it becomes worse. So I think the one thing that you need with Reaper is a lot of patience. Another thing that I did change was for the arrangement view. So for the arrangement view, I just changed all the keyboard bindings, all the keyboard shortcuts to be all the numbers on the top of the keypad. All of them just determine the grid size. So 1 is for 1, and then 2 is for half step, 3 third, quarter notes, and so forth and so forth, and going bigger and going bigger. But I recently came across a video from Alejandro from Reaper Tips, and there's this one extension that does automatic grid line changes, and it's pretty good. I even set up like a keyboard shortcut for that, so I've got it set up, and then you can just pretty much choose how big you want the grid to be. So now when I zoom in, my grid just changes automatically, and this is actually pretty dope. I'll leave a link to that video in the description, where he's giving some extra extensions that you might want to be interested in. And for me, definitely this one is pretty much a time saver. I'm like, wow, this is pretty dope. I might just now change the shortcuts for these numbers and make them do something else, because this pretty much does it's pretty much the best grid line extension that I can think of. For me, this is like perfect. I'll just change the numbers, make them do something else. Another thing that I really enjoy in Reaper is how easy it is to set like regions. So if you organizing your song or whatever, it's just Shift R, and then you can make like a section. And the nice thing about it is that you can move this, and you move any audio along with it. You can move any audio along with it. So if you have, let's say, let me draw a MIDI file, you can just literally move everything with it. It's not like a marker per se. It is more like arrangement. So when you have like a section of a song and you want to move it, you can literally just move the entire thing like that, along with all the clips involved with it. So if I move this like that, it moves along with it. Regions. That's pretty dope. I like that. Just Shift R, and then that's how easy. I don't even think I changed that from the default Reaper settings. I think that just comes, well, as is. So I like that. Another thing that I really enjoy is that I changed is the punch. So I pretty much set my settings for recording punch vocals. So when you are recording, but you don't want to record like the entire thing, you just want to record like one small section. So I set my shortcuts for that. I've got one version for recording normally where I just record everything, and then I can also just change the punch mode. When you change punch, the record button just changes slightly. So, but you can find this option by right clicking. So that's another thing that I really enjoy about the punch. The Cubase one is okay, but I feel like there's extra buttons that I need to push to get it to do what I want. But here in Reaper, just very simply just change it and it does exactly what I want. The one thing that I feel deterred me from recording from the beginning in Reaper was some of the options that they had set. Let me see if I can quickly just find this, where my preferences. So every time like you were recording, and then it showed like a pop-up window every time you stopped recording. So you just uncheck this list, this button here on stop, because every time you have this on, you would record something, and then when you let me just something. So you would record, right? And then when you stop, you'd have this pop-up button, and then like you just uncheck this from the list, delete, so that when you stop recording, you don't get that pop-up anymore. And I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of annoying. Don't delete the track, let's just delete this file. I know there's one thing people really despised about Reaper, and when you start using it, that would be like the stock plugins, and a lot of people hated the UI of the stock plugins, because let me just pull out one for example. Like there's the UI, and it's really not appealing. I'm not gonna lie, it's not appealing. But if you're a person who just wants to get the job done, I guess this is just fine, because it also uses very, very little CPU. So what would you rather have, more processing power, or using more processing power used up on loading like graphic interfaces? For me personally, the one thing that sways me away from these JS plugins and the interface, it's not that they don't look appealing, it's more for if you're just experimenting, it doesn't really inspire you, because sometimes you just have no idea how it operates. You're just pushing some sliders and then trying to get like a result. But I feel like when you have a better interface, you just feel more inclined to experiment a little bit more. You just get some buttons that you're like, what, let me see what I can do. So, but you do have the option of just using your own plugins. Just use your own plugins. I mean, it's fine. And another thing, as I'm clicking here, you don't get any like factory presets. So you're gonna have to like source out some presets for each plugin, like for yourself, and that just takes a little bit extra time as well. But with Toucan plugins available through the Repack and SWS extensions, you really need to get the Toucan plugins, like, because if you're gonna be using Reaper, it's a must. It's a must. You gotta get yourself some Toucan plugins, because they are JS plugins. But it's John Matthews, I think his name, but he has gone through the process of painstakingly creating like pretty much beautiful interfaces for plugins. Some of them have some presets loaded here on this burger menu slider, and you've got some presets as well, and you've got some GUI, some graphic user interface. You've got some knobs and buttons to press. This feels so much more comfortable. This inspires you to like experiment a little bit more, see some of the settings. You can see some of the plugins, how they are operating. You can get a better view of what you're doing. I prefer something like this. So I feel like this is taking advantage of Reaper's processing, and now you've got the plugins looking like also in a way where now I can see what I'm doing. I can see some of the meters in a different way than the other JS plugins. And for me, I personally like this, and I like this more than like the OG stock Reaper plugins, because now even when you're moving through the different like emulations of plugins or the different kinds of plugins, now you can kind of like have an idea of what you are seeing. You can see and visualize what you are doing. And also for these emulations, if you've used like a similar type of plugin or hardware, now you can pretty much come here to these Toucan plugins, and now you can use it and be familiar with it. So if you're going to be using Reaper and you don't have, or you don't want to buy like third-party VST plugins, or you're just like using Reaper, you're just coming in, Reaper is going to be the only thing. You don't want other plugins. You want to keep like the processing power as low as possible, and you like the sound of these Toucan plugins. I mean, this is just another option you can go. You can always just buy other plugins, but if you love the sound and you have this other option, I think Toucan plugins, these are pretty amazing. These are pretty amazing. If you're going to be using Reaper, Toucan is a must. Basically, Repack and the SWS extensions are an absolute must if you're going to be using Reaper. And yeah, that's my thoughts. Just getting started. This is me just coming up to grips with using Reaper and getting the hang of it. I know I don't open it, I don't try it much. I just come here, just tweak a little bit of things here and there, record a little bit, just try it out. But definitely I can see this becoming a main door for someone to use. Like I genuinely can see why people are coming to Reaper, and they swear by it. They say this is my DAW. I don't use anything else. They're coming from the high-end paid DAWs, and they're like, nope, I only use Reaper. I can see why. I can see why they do it. I know other people might open up Reaper and just see, like, man, nah, this ain't it. But genuinely, I believe if you take the time and you just get to use Reaper, get to grips with it, organize it. I've even organized like some of my plugins. I've put them into separate categories so that I don't like have an influx of information that I don't even know what I'm gonna do with. So literally, I've got all my plugins set up here, all my third-party plugins. Everything is all here. I've got a lot of third-party plugins. I also keep the stock Reaper plugins, separate options. There's just so much you can do. There's so much you can do. Another cool thing you can do, let me remove all of these. You can even like add plugins to this thing, man. Let me get some JS plugins up on this thing. Which ones did I love using? I love the meters. Show in what's that? It's the MCP, right? Yeah, that's the MCP, multiple track plane. And then you've got your VU meter right here, so you can literally have like the meter dancing like in your mixer. I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know which other like let's see if I can add like a loop so you can see this thing like dancing. Watch the meter dancing. I actually find that pretty cool. So like where else can you see that? Where else can you see that? Look, the meter's dancing right in the mixer. You don't have to open up like a separate plugin. I mean, you can, because you can just open up this, but you can see like the meters dancing right in your mixer. I think in terms of options, like Reaper has everything, man. Reaper literally has everything. So if you are looking for a new DAW, or just bored, or you want to try something else, like give Reaper a chance. Like the things that I've said right now, I can literally go on for hours and hours and hours on what you can do to Reaper or for Reaper. And quickly, just before I close, I see another thing as well that I also changed instantly. That's just for me, for my aesthetics, because I see some people when they use Reaper, they've got that bar on top, but something that I was just generally interested in making cleaner, because I personally didn't like it. Let me just quickly go to this option: preferences, appearance, peaks, media forms, for media. This is the screen where you would be able to see like all the changes that you will make to like the media file or whatever, the clip that you see here. So it says draw label on this thing, so also just takes away the display item take name. You can remove everything, so everything looks cleaner. But I prefer having that because I don't use the track lanes, where like when you're comping you have the different lanes for comping. You can also do that on Reaper. I just like having like everything on one line. You can hit the shortcut to just change the takes in that one lane. I just use like the one lane. Show labels for items if not visible, draw labels. So that's the one I think most people have like loaded by default, but this is how I like it. I just want to see it in this way. I want like the entire clip, everything like as clean as possible. And also for the options here, instead of having like the drop down, if you pull down from the top, that's your volume. I prefer having the volume knob. Most people don't like the volume knob, but I just prefer having it cleaner, have the volume knob here, and then I can just lower the volume of each individual clip. If I don't have that applied, supposed to be the volume. Where's the volume line? This is a bit. Oh, no handle. Wait. 0 dB is at top of item. Let's see. So there you have the line right there. I don't want that. No handle. Apply. Give me the volume knob any day. I want the volume knob, so I can just each clip I can individually lower and increase the volume like that. You've got other options here. You've got notes. You can add notes to your clips. Take that. You can lock, add a lock. You can have some effects as I've got here. So each clip you can add your own effects on that. So yeah, that's just for the media clips. That's something that I also just jumped straight into when I was configuring Reaper for myself. So there's literally like lots and lots of like options, and I'm only just scratching the surface, barely scratching the surface. So definitely you should give like Reaper a chance. I'm just like telling you, this is some of the things that some of the challenges, some of the things that I changed instantly when I started using Reaper, just so I can make it make sense to me. And that's my number one recommendation. When you download Reaper for the first time, just try out, change some things, make it make sense to you, and only then you'll be able to like tap into the power of this software, this DAW. So I tried Reaper. Should you? I think for me it's pretty much a no-brainer. It's gonna be frustrating at the beginning, but just check out some tutorials online. Alejandro from Reaper Tips. You've got Kenny Joya. You've got John from Reaper Blog. And you've got Let's Talk About Reaper with Mike. And there's just a lot of good influences for Reaper and good tutorials that you'll find that'll get you up and running very quickly. You'll be able to understand there's quite a lot, but once you unpack all the information, I think you'll find a lot of use and a lot of power in Reaper. Yeah, if you made it this far, I mean, please do leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and that will show me and help me make more of these actually. So yeah, we'll meet on the next video. Thanks for watching.